This economy has millions out of work, and the toll is taking more than just a financial one. It's emotional. Dr. Steve Margeotes is a counselor who we welcome to our show to talk about getting laid off and how it affects your emotional well-being. Good to have you here.
Thanks, Laura. Thank you very much.
Well, first of all, people, they worry about the finances, and it's almost in conjunction with the emotional well-being. How big an issue is this?
Tremendous.
Tremendous.
It's always a trauma. First thing is it's surreal. It's shock. It's shock to the system. You really can't believe this is happening to you. It's like playing football and getting blindsided. You don't expect it coming at all. So the first thing is to deal with the shock that this is actually happening. You have been let go through no choice of yourself, which is another part which adds to the trauma.
Well, that next part must be self-esteem. What did I do? What about me? Why me?
Exactly. Self-blame.
Right.
You know, you start looking for reasons. You start looking at yourself. Why was I let go? Why was somebody else not let go? What did I do wrong? I thought I did a good job. It puts you through an entire self-inventory, and you lose confidence. You lose a lot of self-confidence.
I've got to imagine, because many people associate who they are with their job, is it a good assumption or a good comparison to almost compare it to the stages you go through in grief? You're angry, you're mad, you get depressed.
Absolutely.
Is that an accurate comparison?
There's a process, okay? And you're sad, you're angry, you're looking to try to make sense of this thing that happened to you, and it's very, very difficult, and it takes a long time to recover from.
What about the toll that it takes on your family? You're the major breadwinner and you've lost your job. It's not your fault. You have children, you have a spouse. What effect does that have on the family unit?
Research has shown that there's a higher level of divorce, there's a higher level of suicide, and that children underachieve in school academically when unemployment hits one of the breadwinners, and it impacts the entire family.
All right, so what can we do about this? Can you give us some coping techniques?
I think the key thing is you have to stay active, particularly when you don't want to. You still have to keep structure in your life. Okay. You have to network. We hear about volunteering, and you do. You have to get in touch with other people. The worst thing is to stay home and stay isolated.
That's what instinct probably you want to go crawl under your pillow and just say, this didn't happen.
That's right. You want to hide. Exactly.
Denial.
You deny what happened, and you have to acknowledge what happened, as painful it is, not only to you, but to the family. Family has to have meetings, okay? Because all of a sudden you're going to start being asked questions by your kids. Are we poor now? What happened? We're cutting back. Why aren't we taking vacations? We have to acknowledge that this thing has occurred. I lost my job, as painful as that is.
Now, when we have these conversations with our families, we're not alone. Misery loves company to a certain degree, but when dealing with your children especially, they have a hard time understanding, am I going to lose my house? Why can't I get new shoes? Everybody else at school has new shoes. How do you explain that without making yourself feel more guilty and more depressed?
I think that's the key of reassuring them. Okay, here's the reality of the situation. This is what's happening, and this is what's not happening. Because if meetings aren't occurring, the kids are going to come up with their own answers. I heard from this one, I heard from this one, we are going to lose a house, this happened down the block. So I think it's really important to communicate as much as possible.
You have people, though, who have been out of work for upwards of 2 years, some who have almost given up. What advice or glimmer of hope can you give to those people who are watching saying, you know what, I've been trying this for 2 years and I'm about to give up?
I think you have to do something. I think part-time is better than full-time. I think that volunteering is better than staying home. I think if it's even not in your profession, you don't know what's going to lead to what other position. But I think when you're isolated, nothing positive is going to happen.
I'm finding, and many people are finding this happens across the board, it doesn't matter if you're a janitor or if you're a CEO. Has this ever happened to you yourself? Have you ever been out of work?
I haven't been out of work.
No.
I've been fortunate to that, but I've seen many people that I've known who have been out of work.
But this is something that's happening across the board. It's not just one segment.
Oh, no.
It's not just the 50-year-old people who are being let go because they're older and somebody can do it for younger and cheaper.
No, this is across the board.
Right.
This is professional, this is semi-professional. It's the economy that's impacting everybody. And the emotional toll is extremely significant and extremely invisible. You can't see it, but you feel it.
So final thoughts here in 10 seconds, if you could give us, you know, it's good to get up, get a shower, go out, network? What other final thoughts can
You have
leave
to
us
stay
with?
structured. You have to stay as structured when you're unemployed as you are when you're employed. That's the key. Again, on the internet, go to self-help groups. You have to stay active.
All right, Dr. Margeotes, some good advice. We appreciate you for being here today.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.